Alright, Shalom. It's about Kushab. Coming back at you another lesson. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who taught me the truth and rule well. And peace, blessings, and salutations be to those elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel, and may you endure unto the end, Lord willing. Right? And let me read the scripture first. I might come back to it. But this is the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 13. It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Right? So who will pity a charmer that's bitten by a serpent, man? Right? Let me see what that said in the GNT. And I'll let the video play. A few precepts I want to go into. All right? Basically going into, you idiots in America, man, and in you other places as well, that ultimately believes, the so-called government, all right? The so-called, for those who've been told to trust the science, all right? You had multiple brothers, different elders, apostles, catching hell through the YouTube pages and, camp pages. Whole camp pages is gone, over this whole thing. All right. Now you have this devil up here. So I'm going to let the video play, up here just pleading the fifth, man. All right. He got a pleading the fifth demon on him. But this is Sirach 12 and 13 in the NLT. It says, nobody feels sorry for snake charmers or wild animal tamers who get bitten, and nobody will feel sorry for you if you run around with sinners and get involved with their wrongdoing. You see? So nobody don't feel sorry for all of those who took the JAB, all right? Who took the jab, and this is around times, brothers was coming in, during that whole 2020 era of everything being closed. All right, locked down, all right, and everything was totally closed, and it came with this VAX, saying it's for the greater good. This is how we can get back to, what we can get back to, and this is not medical information, all right? This is not any medical information, man. And it's really funny, because you think about all the turmoil, all of the persecution that, yourself and, other brothers went through for not being down with it, Oh, you can't come to my house, which we didn't care anyway, right? But it's like the big I told you so. You had these different camp leaders saying to go get it, all right, amongst these other camps, This is all, it's all fun and games, But when you hear stuff like this out of the horse's mouth, it makes people realize that they were wrong, right? Now, will they admit it? No. But it gives validation to the prophets to know that, the spirit of Yahweh by Shemyahu Shai is working with Great Millstone, man. Right? Now, let this video play. And just check, after this first video, just check this guy out. All right?
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us.
This dude was going door to door. All right? Door to door. Trying to get people to get it. Door to door. All right? This is around June 2021. All right, listen to what this dude is telling them, right? Go ahead.
Right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time.
You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Well, nothing says honesty like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon...
Now look at this devil. He's saying it with a smirk on his face, you know, because he know exactly what he's doing, man. All right, taking a fifth was basically, you know, this nigga refused to answer any questions, man. All right, but this was the face of the whole PLANDEMIC, man. All right, he was the face of it. Getting on the news, telling people what to do, you know. He even had Sleepy Joe in as much as so, you know, they had a storm down here, I think it was the same year, 2021, Ida, you know, and people was evacuating, and the first thing out of the horse's mouth was, hey, you got to go get VAX'd first, you know. In order to evacuate, you got to go get VAX, man, you know. It's ridiculous, man, but that goes to show, as I'm going to get the precepts, all right, this will happen when you trust in your oppressor, man, all right. This will happen when you trust in the people who've been trying to totally annihilate you, all right, in your very existence since they came into power, man, you know. And I'm trying to, you know, keep it to where I'm using nice words, because this, you know, stuff like this, it really piss you off, you know. But hey, at the end of the day, for those that understand, hey, we're gonna get you, you know, we're gonna get you in the kingdom, man, all right. And brothers gonna have turns kicking you across the kingdoms, man, you know. But I'll let it play, all right.
On my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should know what the Constitution says. Do you know who wrote the Fifth Amendment?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
So you're invoking a right that you don't know who wrote it or what it says. Is that correct?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's pretty much the whole video, man. You know, this guy refused to answer any questions with, you know, and they all know all of the wrongdoing that he did, man. Let me get the scripture right fast before I lose it in my brain, all right? When the Lord was displeased, because there was no justice, man. Damn. No justice in it. Let's see. Zechariah. Let's see something. Damn, bro. So like, it just bailed me 1 second because I am in transit. I'm trying to find it. Salaki, man. Nah, that ain't it, bro. Damn, man. How does it go? I know I'm just off by a word or two. I know I'm gonna find it. I know I'm gonna think of the exact precept as soon as I'm done this lesson, you know. But you know, that's why the Lord looked upon this place, you know, and he was displeased because he saw there was no justice in the land, man. All right, and that we just out here just totally forsaken, you know, for the whole nation. You know, we understand that the elect, you know, are going to return to their power, you know, for the mass majority, which is, excuse me, which is 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, you're not going to turn to the Lord, all right? You're not going to seek Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You're going to continue to trust in your oppressor, man. You know, and if they did that for, you know, just a jab, just imagine what they're going to do for the MOTB, man. You know? They're going straight away and grab it, and they're still going to say, what? All right, cool. Now we good. Because you actually had people back then, you know, thinking that, you know, once I get this JAB, oh, I'm good. Everything, I go back to the gym. I could go out to eat now, you know. That's what people thought, you know. So this is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, right? And they take counsel from who? Reverend F.A.U.C.I. All right, this guy right here. This is who they take counsel from, man. Look at this guy. You know, that's who they take counsel from. Like I said, you had actually, you know, brothers experience this. You know, I myself personally experienced, you know, past, you know, run-ins with family members. All right, parents. Well, you know, Jake was told, hey man, don't even come around me, cause you don't got the JAB. You know, no, you're not welcome here, cause you ain't got it, man. You know, for trusting in this devil, right? But what happened? Those that they did what? They took counsel, right? But not of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They took counsel from that dude, right? It says, and that covering with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Get one, get two, all right? And go get you a booster and get a double booster, man. You know? It says that walk to go down to Egypt, right? Which means spiritual Egypt. Okay, Egypt just means a house of bondage. And if this is not a house of bondage, I don't know what it is. It says, and have not asked in my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. You see? This is what you've done. You strengthen yourselves in the strength of Pharaoh. The modern day Pharaoh, all right, is your so-called president, man. Whatever they tell you to do, you gonna do it. Especially when you had Sleepy Joe in there, you know, thinking that he was gonna fix everything and bring everything back to normal. Oh, Joe says cool. You know, we gonna do it. A lot of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know, fell for this, you know, BS, man. All right? So let's go skip over a chapter, because the Lord doubled down on you, man. All right? Isaiah 31:1. It says, woe unto them that go down for Egypt, and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. So instead of seeking the Lord, all right, you had the men out on the highways and hedges prophesying, telling you, hey man, don't take that, you know, it's poison, you know, they got stuff going on with that. It's you know, it's a host of things or reasons why you shouldn't take it. But what you do? Trust in the shadow of Egypt, man. You know, you continue to go down to Egypt for help. And you didn't do what? Seek the Holy One of Israel. All right. That was pretty much it. Man, I have to find this precept, you know, and I want to bring this out. You know, I just screenshot it and sent it to the brothers. You know, this dude, it says Dr. Anthony, you know, I hate to say his last name because that's like that shit was damn near an automatic strike, you know. It says invoke the Fifth Amendment right 111 times during a contentious, which is what, you know, what I was showing in the video, right? It says he refused to answer questions from a committee investigating the origins of, you know, you can see it right there on the screen, right? And what you had the White House, you know, actually come out a website, I believe is the truth.gov, you know, basically exposing how the social stand, you know, a certain feet apart, having on the actual covers on your face, and I'm just trying to speak in code, you know, having the covers on your face, none of it was relevant, all right, for the actual CV, all right, none of it helped. And, you know, like I said, these are things that, you know, we were the ones telling you. But since it was us, it was like, nah, they can't be right. Well, what do you think is going to happen with the MOTB? Nah, that ain't it. Oh, you know, it remain. We going to see about that. You believe in what you want, and we going to believe in what we want here at Great Millstone, man. You know? You do your thing, and we going to do ours, and we going to see where that get us. You know? But oh, I have to find this precept. I have to find it. Isaiah 59. That was, I think I might have looked past it. Man, damn. It's a lot here. 59. DC. 15. I was looking at 7. That's a good chapter too. Very good chapter. Let's get the point. Yep, that's it right there. There's Isaiah 59 and 14. It says, in judgment turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord Yahweh saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. All right, and that's what I kept putting justice instead of judgment, man. All right. Hey, man, it displeased the Lord that he saw that there was no judgment, man. You know? Like, come on, bro. In the NLT, it says, our courts oppose the righteous. Yeah, so like, it says, our courts oppose the righteous, and justice is nowhere to be found. Who's going to hold this guy accountable? All right? Not the people in the goddamn Senate hearing. You know? Everybody know the crimes that he's guilty of. You had millions of people, okay, die. Literally. So much to the point to where the quote, died suddenly, was just a trend. an article will drop and it'll say such and such died suddenly, man, from unknown causes. Within months after this thing was rolled out, you see, you had athletes just totally having what's the damn name of the thing? Heart issues, collapsing on the field, and going in the spirit world, man. All because what? These people persecuting us, you know, talking down against us for what? Not wanting to get down with the get down, you see? And, you know, it's all kind of things that go into, you know, this whole situation, you know? Like I said, it's just a test run for the MOTB. So if they did all of that, you know, for the MOTB, just imagine what they getting ready to do. I mean, for the jab, just imagine what they getting ready to do for the MOTB, man. Right? It says truth stumbles in the streets and honesty has been outlawed. You see, honesty is outlawed in this society, man. All right? It says, yes, the truth is gone. And anyone who renounces evil is attacked. You see, we were attacked, man. You know? And the Lord looked and displeased to find that there was no justice. He was amazed to see that no one intervened to help the oppressed. So he himself stepped in to save them with his strong arm, and his justice sustained them. You see? And that's what's going to happen. The Lord, when it happens again, all right, when they incorporate that charagma, all right, the Lord going to step in himself, man, by sending his son back, all right, to gather his elect, you know? But hey, man, I just wanted to get into a quick lesson on that. You know, it's to show you, you know, it's all good at the end of the day, all right? As it says in Ezekiel 33:33, then shall they know that a prophet had been among them, man, you know? So a lot of people going to find out when it's too late, you know? And it's, like I said, at the end of the day, it's all good, you see? So with that, we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rachak Wadash, and Shalom, Barakim, Lavakarium, Shalom.